Hello. Now, growing up, we all know that we're taught to be financially successful, but we're never given a framework to show how we go about doing that. In fact, many of us go about working hard, having our own businesses, making lots of money, but at the end of the day, we have nothing, no assets to show for it. And then we fast forward to 20 years down the line, our kids are growing up, and we still have nothing to show for it because all our lives we've got caught in a trap systematically of paying bills and living check to check. So today I'm sitting here with Mr. Frank Corbin of REMIC Realty, and we're discussing generational wealth. Now, Frank, what is generational wealth?
Well, from what I was taught from my grandmother, that's all I ever heard as a kid. This is for the next generation. This is for the next generation. Mm-hmm. Everything she ever done is always about the next generation. And it was the generation of this time creating a pathway of wealth for those to come after. So we would create wealth for our kids, and we teach them the pathway for our kids. And so it always remained to the kids, generational wealth beyond 3, 4, 5 generation beyond us. Okay. And the process duplicates itself from there on.
Okay, so you actually answered my next question, which is what is the average lifespan of generational wealth?
Well, the lifespan is about 3 generations. So your current generation, your kids' generation, and their grandkids. Traditionally, you would have access to your grandkids. So you'd be the foundation of the wealth. Mm-hmm. And from your teaching, hopefully your kids pass it on to their grandkids, which becomes your great-grandchildren. So it always goes 3 cycles down, okay?
Okay, now that's a lot of money and a lot of wealth you're creating. So what are some vehicles or methods of getting us to that point?
Well, there's a lot of things you can use. You can use businesses. You can use stocks and bonds, mutual funds, if you agree with that model of investing. I'm kind of biased. I'm the real estate guy. I choose real estate because that's all I ever see my grandmother buying was real estate. That's all I see her investing in. She didn't understand too many things, but she understands real estate very well.
Okay, and now that you've learned from your grandmother that real estate was a good investment and you're doing it yourself, what other reasons would you give us for why you would say real estate would be?
Well, as a term, it's really, the label just really explains itself, real estate. Mm-hmm. It's the only estate that you can create that's real. It's land, it's home, it's solid, something you can see, feel, and touch. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go away overnight, despite if its value changes. You can also put a lien on title to protect the ones that comes after you from selling it. Mm-hmm. So what my grandmother have taught, that if you put the property paid off over the years, 0 mortgage, you put the lien on title, the kids cannot sell it, the grandkids cannot sell it. So a few options they have. They can live in it, they can rent it out to total strangers. They cannot refinance the property, they cannot dispose of it. Mm-hmm. Only under one circumstances can that property be disposed, is if the government of any country decide to take back that property, that local area, right, to use it for extension of road or major development beyond your single family home or so. Right. If that happens, you can put also a lien on title explaining that they must repurchase another property of equal value with the same intentions. So that lien on the first property would transfer to the second and third property if they have to dispose of the first one. And that's now, it happens if you're dead and gone. If you're sick in the hospital, can't do anything, that runs with the title of that property.
Okay, now that sounds really good. Myself, my mother purchased some land like 20 years ago, and fast forward to today, the land wasn't worth much because of zoning and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it brings me to the question, is there good real estate and bad real estate, or is all real estate good? Oh,
no. Just like everything else, you have junk businesses, you have junk stocks, you have junk mutual funds, there's junk real estate. There's junk properties, properties in less demanding or favorable areas. If you buy them, you would not see as much appreciation like properties in prime location.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very true, as I told you with my situation. Now, we see more and more people moving outside of the GTA because it's cheaper, they don't want to deal with traffic, more land, it just seems like something to do. Would you recommend that? Is that a good option?
Well, you can buy properties anywhere you want. You can live anywhere you want. So if people are moving out of the GTA because the cost of living is cheaper, sure, that's a good idea. From an investment perspective, though, if you're going to buy the property and rent it out to tenants want to be in the good location with easy access to transportation, bus services, restaurants, shopping malls, and so on. So from an investment perspective, that wouldn't be the smartest thing to do to move out, because all those things would be removed from the benefit of the location. You wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have the access to the malls and the transportation and the things that comes with a good quality location.
Mm-hmm. But if you look at it, at one point, places like Mississauga and Brampton was a holiday getaway. Like, it was a weekend getaway. You packed your suitcase and you went out there.
Absolutely.
And now the land is worth so much.
Right.
So what about in that instance, if someone's waiting, I guess, to wait it out?
Again, if you had bought into Mississauga 30, 40 years ago, when they're pretty much giving away the properties, it would have been a good idea. But you would not have made as much money as if you have taken the same money in that time frame and placed it in the big city at the time, which was Toronto. So if you bought more properties in Toronto in the same time frame, you would have made a lot more money than buying out in Mississauga, Brampton, anywhere else.
Okay, so
it's the same thing now. If you take money if you move from Mississauga, Brampton, and go to way up north or somewhere, of course you can get properties cheaper. But if you keep the money here, remember, we're the source of the economy. Mm-hmm. We're the source of growth. We grow here first before anyone else on the outside. When we get tired of the high prices here, then we go out on the outside. At that time, we don't stop growing here. We just continue to go higher and higher in the local GTA market. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So my number one choice is always going to be the GTA for investment purposes. For a personal resident, you can live anywhere you want to live. It's totally up to you.
Okay. And at what point, if you're talking to a young person or someone in their like 20s, 30s, even 40s, mm-hmm. what point would you say should you begin ideally investing in creating generational wealth?
This conversation needs to happen from age 13, 14. It needs to be embedded in the kid's brain from day one, that your task is to either come on board, take over my wealth, multiply it, duplicate it, do better than I did for yourself and the family. And so that conversation be happen from 13, 14 years old, of what the kids' agenda need to be in life, of all the things you can marry, you can have kids, but your life purpose is to duplicate the wealth that the path has set for you. And from that point on, it's just going to go from there on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know the first thing that comes to many people's mind is, my kids are irresponsible. So what if I do all this work and they squander it? Is there any way that I can prevent that from happening? Well,
there's a couple options. First of all, you create the wealth. Your whole objective is to leave it for them when you decide to move on, mm-hmm. or when you decide to retire. They can take it over. If they decide they have no financial interest in the money, guess what? There's more money for you at retirement.
Right, right.
If you decide before you passed on, you want to secure your wealth, there's so many options you have in the sense of protecting your wealth or protecting your capital. You can create real estate trusts. You can create trusts for the kids where you can actually slowly release the money from the property into the kids' bank account mm-hmm. on an annual basis. Mm-hmm. You can take the income from the property. You can set it all up in trust. Income from the property on an annual basis, put it into a trust account that gets released. This is all directional stuff you can put together. Mm-hmm. That gets released to the kids on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, until they die. Mm-hmm. So with real estate, you have that control because it's a hard asset that cannot be easily liquidated without proper instructions.
Right. And with that being said, wouldn't it then be a great idea to educate your kids during this process so they have an idea of what's going on as opposed to it just being tossed on them? And how would you teach them? Like, what sorts of methods would you use to teach them?
Again, the best thing is hands-on teaching. While you're developing this wealth, while you're building this wealth, let them come with you. Let them go to your local property, pick up the rent from your tenants, mm-hmm. understand the value of money, mm-hmm. get them involved. Mm-hmm. Okay, and again, don't wait until you reach age 50 to get that stuff started. Yeah. Age 14 is a good age to start, 13, yeah. 14. Or it's not even such an age, it's the child level of common understanding.
Right.
So some kids get it at 7, 8. Mm-hmm. And if you have a child that's smart and pick it up in such a short time, in such a young age, you start going through the process of teaching them. It's mm-hmm. a lifetime lesson. It's not something that says, here's a 4-year university education. No, it's a lifetime lesson. You want to make sure that it gets embedded into their brain. Mm-hmm. This shall not be sold. Mm-hmm. This is for generational wealth. You can duplicate this process too and go very slow with them because they get it. Okay, they get it. Yeah.
Well, I know myself, when I purchased my first home, I took my daughter with me to sign the mortgage papers so she can see the whole process of what was going on. She was young, but she was still there, and kids remember far more than we think. So I definitely agree, start young and then show them what's going on. Now, I know many people also have a fear of investing in real estate because of the big D word. And the D word is debt.
Right.
They don't want to take on more debt. Is there such thing as good debt and bad debt?
Yes, there's good debt and bad debt. The bad is the one you go rack up your credit card on fancy vacations and expensive stuff, fashion, which is a big trend going on right now. The good debt would be if you leverage money from your equity or your home or any investments, or even liquidate your RRSP and you use it to buy an investment property, which you creating more debt, but you have the debt being paid on by the tenants and you put in those investment properties. That's a very good debt.
Okay, so you're saying leverage your debt. That's the best thing to do.
Leverage create debt from your home,
right,
and leverage it by an investment property.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. So what about those of us who say, this is a great idea, we want to retire young. Is it possible to retire young? Or, I mean, you hear people working until in their 80s these days. So is it possible to retire, say, by 50?
It's possible to retire at 50. You have to have an extreme focus plan and start very, very young, probably age 20, which I think that's what the kids should start building wealth, age 18, 19, 20, the youngest possible, give them the opportunity to make mistakes. So in at least 10 years to make mistakes, by 30 they can get it right. They can retire 40, 50, very easy if they stick to the plan. And yeah, so it's easy to retire young if you want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and as always, Frank, this has been a very good conversation. You always have the ability to deliver your message without using financial jargon and giving us real-life examples on how we can apply these techniques to our own lives. Now, I'm not sure if you wanted to mention it, but I do believe that you're holding monthly meetings where people can come in a safe environment to kind of learn and discuss. Do you want to tell us more about that? Yeah,
what I've done lately, I've created a program called the Next Generation Money. And the Next Generation Money is a two-part series. It's one for the parents, and second is for the kids. We're starting off from age 14 to 28 to come and have dialogue about money, about real estate, about businesses. It's not a sales pitch. It's absolutely free for people to come and get the kids involved. To talk about the next generation money. If parents don't know what to discuss at the dining table at home, we give them the language of what to say, what to do, and how to get the kids involved in the investment process, the financial process, the monthly budgeting process at home. We give you the right language and the tools to get yourself started.
Okay, so you hear that, people? Frank is opening up his doors to teach us all how to do what he's saying. He's not just telling us, he's teaching us how to do it. If you want more information, you can give him a call at 888-88-REMIC. Yeah,
1-888-88-REMIC. That's 1-888-887-3642. Or you can catch me up on Facebook. I'm always on the social media. Send me a message, and we can send in your kid's bio, their profile of what they're looking for, or if they have nothing, if they have no clue they're looking for at this point in time, we can just put together something for them, and we can start the process. The whole idea is to get them involved in the dialogue of money that was never discussed at the dining table in your house. Or if you have started the process, you're just going to expand it to the next level. They might have business ideas, might have different things they want to get involved in and do it, and they have no clue how to start the process. And so we get them going.
Okay, well, thank you once again, Frank, for sitting down and taking this time to share this with me and with our audience. And people, just remember that any wealth that you build today, it's not for you. It's for the next generation. Absolutely. So talking about that, Desiree,
a lot of folks get the idea, okay, and glad you mentioned this, a lot of folks get the idea that they're going to make a lot of money, they're going to retire young, and they can live a wonderful life.
Yes.
That's the biggest lie you ever tell yourself.
Yes.
And here's why. If you are building wealth, it's not your money to enjoy. You're doing the work. That money will be enjoyed by the next generation. If you wanted to enjoy the wealth, it should have been done by your parents.
Yes.
Okay? So that's a good thing. So people think, I'm gonna make a lot of money, I'm gonna have a wonderful life. It's a lie. Every time you decide to take out your personal focus time, where you're making money to go on the fancy vacational stuff, you disrupt your operation of more success. So if you really want to create success, you have to become extreme. People say, let's keep it balanced. Well, there's no such thing as keeping that balance. You either have or you don't have.
Yes.
You can't have a balanced zero budget. That means you're not going anywhere. You either have money or you don't have money. Okay? So I think a lot of people in this generation now need to become extremely focused on creating wealth.
Yes.
If you manage to hit it big during that process, bingo. You might be able to enjoy it. But for most people, they would not hit it big. You have to be, unless you find something very, very unique that you can take to the next level. But for the average person, it's not your money, it's the next generation money.
That's right. That's right. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. See ya.
See you.